Stop the steal, Brazilian style. Police fire tear gas at Bolsonaro supporters, blocking off highways across the country. Fired up on a mix of right-wing patriotism and a hatred of the left. They believe, without evidence, Bolsonaro lost the election due to fraud.
This is a democratic country. There's been no evidence of fraud. You have to go home and accept the result, don't you?
We have to fight for our flag, for the future of our children, for our future. We don't want Brazil to become Venezuela.
Everyone fears this election would see clashes, and that's what we've been seeing today. But crucially, the police do seem to be tackling the protesters. There were fears they might join them.
Lula, you thief, you belong in prison, they chant. The left-wing veteran was jailed for corruption, then acquitted. For the right wing, he's still a criminal. And throughout the campaign, Bolsonaro, just like his friend Donald Trump, suggested he wouldn't accept defeat. We were at this same roadblock as it was being set up last night. In charge, Juliano, a shooting instructor who set out his demands.
I
want the military to take power. It's not ideal, but it's a million times better than Lula's Communist Party.
Outside the army headquarters in Sao Paulo, an astonishing sight in a country that 40 years ago brought an end to a repressive military dictatorship. A crowd of Bolsonaro supporters pleading for soldiers to take to the streets.
Your critics, they say what you're trying to do here is provoke a coup.
It's not a coup. The results were fraudulent. From the beginning, the election has been dirty.
What do you want the army, what do you want them to do?
To do something to us, to not allow a corrupted guy to corrupt our country again.
But doesn't that mean that if they take over, for example, that's the end of democracy in Brazil?
Actually, democracy is dead a long time ago in Brazil.
Protesters had set up hundreds of roadblocks, bringing key highways to a standstill. This is a fringe of Bolsonaro's most hardcore supporters. Many others have accepted his defeat. At this roadblock, traffic is now moving again, but no one's sure what direction this standoff will take.
Well, we're still waiting for Bolsonaro to address the nation. We had been told that an announcement was imminent, but no sign of him appearing at the podium to speak just yet. What he says will really be crucial in determining what happens next. This roadblock has come to an end. It's been removed, but there are still protesters here. Tensions could flare up again, and there are dozens of other blockades still in force in other parts of the country. Brazil, just like the United States, has a really long transition period. Lula won't actually be taking over until the 1st of January. There is a line of thought that Bolsonaro is worried about facing a slew of investigations into his financial dealings, and that he's using the threat of unrest as leverage to secure protection for him and his family against that once he loses, once he's removed from power and once he loses his presidential immunity. He, of course, would deny that. Until we hear from Bolsonaro, though, this is a country that's in a state of limbo.